Hello and welcome back to the Rugged Rockhound. We're in a different area today. We are over by Arco. So let me kind of give you a feel for where we're at. So we're up in the Chalice Volcanics. Arco is back in that direction on the other side of that mountain. And the Chalice Volcanics are kind of in this zone. It pretty much ends about here. Those are some limestone units right there. And then it goes over here, maybe one or two more ridges, and then it hits the limestone unit again. So right below us is the Little Lost River that flows then down to Arco. And I wanted to come and check out this area. So in the Falcon Guide and in the Gem Trails, they talk about geodes down in the river, the Little Lost River. Well, guess where they're coming from? They're coming from the Chalice Volcanics. So we're just going to start this slow, steady pace of we're going to start at the closest, easiest access area of the volcanics and then just kind of work our way westward. That's the goal. So today we are just kind of exploring through this material. We might want to kind of go check some of that up around there. And this was actually spot number 2. Spot number 1, I missed it coming up, but that's okay. We hadn't seen a lot coming up this stretch. We saw a little bit down right at the beginning. And when I first got out, we walked around. I didn't see anything here or here, but as we started to go down, that's when we started to find some stuff. We did find some of the colorless chalcedony, some veins, but the best thing is Logan already found some black agate, a vein of it about that thick. So we figured, let's go ahead and start the video here. We're going to start the exploration. I want to kind of go down to where he was and then kind of jump into this little valley area and search around in this area. And here's the black vein that he found. So that's a good piece. It should let some light through once it gets cut into like thin slabs and stuff. That's a nice vein of black. So that's exciting. It's a good start to the day. I want to take a quick moment and just talk about something from the video that I did with the Idaho Falls Gem and Mineral Club. So when I was out there, I was, as I was talking and chatting with the people, they seemed to be okay with me giving the coordinates. I made a mistake in not asking the right people. I needed to ask the president of the club, the board of directors. I needed to ask somebody about that because after the video dropped, they were very unhappy with me leaving the coordinates. So that was a mistake on my part, and I do apologize to them for that. So what I'd like to say is, for those who have seen that and those coordinates, please, before you go out to there, to the area north of, I forget the name of the little reservoir, and we had to go through some private property. I wonder if they had to do something with the private property too, because you have to sign a form when you go through. Whatever the case, please reach out to them. So here's their website. So go to ifrockhounds.com. And if you want to go to that place where we got the green plume agate, please reach out to them and, become a part of the club or see if you can get permission to go out there. Please talk to them first before going out there. Let's try and get on their good side. I messed up, so now I need to try and do things to be helpful. And so moving forward, if I do go out on any future trips, which I plan to, and we'll see what they think, but I'm not going to be giving coordinates to any of the places that I go with the club unless it's already a really well-known area. Other than that, though, if I'm going out and finding my own places, of course, I'll still continue to give coordinates. Which, speaking of, here's the coordinates to this first spot we're starting at. So just to let you know, we did have to drive up kind of a steep hill. You're definitely going to want four-wheel drive and clearance coming up this hill right here. And like he said, there's that black agate that he found. Oh, he found another piece of it. Was that just laying around close?
Yeah, it was just right behind the...
Oh, well, that's interesting, because I hadn't seen anything in this area yet so far. So I wasn't seeing much up on these two little hills in between where we parked, but we were finding more going down. So I have a feeling that if we dive down into this valley, that's probably where our better stuff's going to be. So if you wanted to come out to this spot, I'm recommending be prepared to probably hike in this spot. You're probably going to have to get down into this valley. At least that's what I've seen so far. So just kind of giving you that heads up. Anyway, so like I said, I apologize to the IF Rockhounding Club for giving coordinates, having not asked the right people to make sure that I could give it away. And for all of you who may want to go to that spot, reach out to them first. Go to their website at ifrockhounds.com. And from this point on, I'm not giving out coordinates to any places that they take the club if I go with them, unless they give me special permission to do so. Let's get our stuff and start hiking down into here. See what kind of stuff we'll find. So here are the first few pieces I found when I was hiking around before starting filming to make sure there was stuff. So I got a thin seam right here, but it looks like it's got some plumes in it, so I'll probably take that home and cut it so we can get a better look at the plumes, unless we find, of course, a bunch of better stuff to where I decide to leave it. Also found this, some nice botryoidal. Gary also found a nice piece of the botryoidal. And here's a thicker piece of a seam. Pretty much just clear chalcedony, but there is black around here, so I'm hoping to find that. So this is the area that he said he found the that nice piece of black agate in. I've wandered through it. I didn't find any black myself, just a few pieces of colorless. But right over here I did find this little vein that looks different. So I'm hoping when I cut it open it might have some interesting things going on with it. It's tiny, but it has a little bit of green. Some greenish jasper, it looks like. Had to switch lens, but I don't know if you can see over on the other hill right there, but there's a moose. I was walking here and all of a sudden I heard a bunch of splashing and then some branches breaking, and then a moose ran out up to there. I did not expect moose in this terrain here. So, deer, pronghorn, yeah, but moose, wasn't expecting. Now this may end up not being a great spot. I've come down from the vehicle there. I don't know if you can see, but Gary's up on that hill. He wanted to check out the outcrops up there. There hasn't been a lot, so this may not end up being a great place to come. But I don't want to rule it out until I've explored each of these different hillsides here, lower down, just to see if there's anything good coming off. Anyway, I found more of a white, mostly a white chalcedony with a little bit of banding and like that. So I found that in this spot. So this is the best stuff I've found for a while now, because all I found were tiny little colorless pieces here and there. So this area does not have a lot, at least so far. Here's this little one cut open. Oh, sweet. Yeah, we're getting some good plumes along the edge with these. Almost a red, really adding some contrast. So when I had panned around when I was over there, I had seen kind of this lighter color, kind of more of a greenish, and I figured that might be a good spot to look. But maybe I should go back up and kind of hug the bottom of that just in case. So I'm going to kind of go back this way a little bit and then work over to there. Well, I made it over to the green area. That kind of greener stuff is right here. So walking across that, I saw just a few tiny little colorless, and that was it. But on this other side, I saw that right there and this right here. See that? So in this volcanic rock, there is some waterline material, and it's kind of got this army green color rind to it. That's interesting. All right, let's come take a look at this vein piece right here. Oh. Well, that is a much thicker vein piece than I thought it was going to be. That's interesting. Right, let's spray that off, and maybe spray some of this off to see if there's any more of that going around it. Well, after spraying it off, I can see that it's just a bunch of thin veins all in one volcanic rock. So, just a bunch of thin veins. Interesting, but I don't think I'll keep that. I did find on this rock there was another bit of vein right there, so I may try to break it down to size, because that's a lot of weight when that's pretty much all I can see, not that I really want so far. And maybe there's more inside, but let's try and get that out anyway. So I got it out. A little bit broke off there. That's okay. It's showing a little bit of black near the back, but it's really small, so I'm okay that a little bit broke off. the fact that I don't have to carry a bigger rock, I prefer that when it's something just that big. Here's this little thing cut open. Nice. That is something different right there. Well, I've walked down into the wash, so there's the green area I was. I walked over, came down into this first little wash right here, and found this piece. It's got quartz in the middle, and along the edge it looks like it's got an orangish chalcedony, so that's an exciting little thing. And it goes all the way through, so I might cut it, depending on whether or not I think it's going to fracture, but I like the look of that, so that's exciting. Let's see if we can find more that's like that. Here's this little one cut open. Oh, not too bad for a little one. So this is really interesting. We got a surface here where you got the slicken lines from movement with the rocks sliding against each other. And in this section, it looks like it filled in with kind of a green chalcedony. Almost looks kind of like a jade. And I think I see another piece right here. Yeah. And in this case, it's on that side and on that side, and then you got volcanic rock and maybe a thin vein in the middle. Well, that is interesting stuff. So it was filling in space in between, and that greenish color, who knows? You get into a nice void where things filled in, you might get some pretty neat looking stuff. Thought I'd take a moment and appreciate nature and kind of show you. So there's the saddle where we parked. You can see the vehicle. So I've walked across, came across, looped down into here, and then I'm working my way up this little ridge right here. I saw some lighter color of volcanic material there, so I thought good to check that spot out. And take just a moment to just say a little bit about coming out rockhounding in this area. So see all that sage? This is tick country, so if you come out in a place like this, make sure you spray yourself down good with tick spray beforehand. I didn't show that, but I thought I'd just mention it. You come out here, make sure to spray yourself down with tick spray, and when you get home, check for ticks, because even if you spray yourself, if you're in an area like this and you're walking through all this sagebrush, you still usually end up getting a few ticks on your clothing. Hopefully you catch them before they get to your skin. Now we got a little spot here with some obsidian. See that? We got a little bit of black obsidian forming amidst the rhyolite. Yeah, it's not good obsidian, nothing I'd keep, but neat to see it anyway. So I'm now in an area where I'm seeing a lot of little white veins on the rocks, and I grabbed a piece that had a little bit more on it, and as I look closer, it looks more opal to me, so it looks like we're getting some common opal here. Taking a close look to see if I see any color play, huh? I don't see any, but doesn't hurt to check, just in case. Anyway, yeah. So there's still small thin veins, but at least there's more of them. So maybe if we can find a spot where things get a little thicker like that. All right. Things are getting more interesting now. It's very white, but it does have a kind of a green rim to it. A little bit of a green in the middle. Whether or not that's jasper, agate, or just volcanic, we'll have to find out when we cut into it. All right. I'm liking that. Let's see if we can find more. Oh, speaking of, I look down at a bush and I think I see more of it. I do. I wonder if some of it's calcite. Oh, those are quartz crystals right there, so. Okay. Well, that is worth taking back and cutting to see what it looks like inside. It'll look cool with the contrast with the volcanic rock. Question is, does it have any other cool colors of either jasper or agate? There's a little piece. Oh, but it's got a little bit of banding. Okay, maybe I'll cut that too. Maybe, we'll see. Oh, I think I see another piece right there. Yes, that's more of that same seam. So it's probably coming out right in here somewhere. Oh, there's another piece that's bigger. Okay, we'll take that. Here's this little one cut open. All right. Nice. Here's this one cut open. Oh, all right. All right. That one's cool. Here's this piece cut open. Oh, nice. Here's this little piece cut open. Oh, cool. Yeah, about what I expected. And it's nice. Well, look at that. It's an old tracking collar. So this would have been attached to whatever animal they were tracking. I could only guess based on the size. I don't know. But yeah, a tracking collar for scientific research. Cool. Well, I'm heading back. Got a nice little cattle trail here to walk. Anyway, so I'm gonna head back, see where the other guys are, see if they found anything really good. They were down in this area, so are they still down there? Did they maybe cross to the other side? So as I was coming down, I saw that the other guys were on this side, so I came across the stream here, and already things are changing. I see a few little small ones there. I found that one there. I found this seam right here. There's a little piece right there with some green on one side, but already a higher abundance here than what was over on the other side. So, much better on this side. Okay, maybe we'll spend some time on this side. It's already a lot better. Here's this one cut open. Very white. Nice. But a little too white. Here's this one cut open. Okay. It looks like the water lines are down there. So I cut along the line of the water lines, but that looks cool in there. There's another one hiding behind a web, an old web. There's a nodule. I'm pretty sure that's one with that red exterior. Yep, that's a nodule. Definitely going to want to cut into that thing. Here's this one cut open. Oh, good water lines on that one. Those are nice water lines. Sweet. So one thing that may very well be going on right here is there may be a fault coming down through here, and that this side is offset from that side. And so when we're not seeing over there, because the zone is either further down or wherever, further up, that we're in the right spot here. Yeah, oh, something hiding right there. Oh, we got some black. We got some black. Oh, what's that? Is that anything? Nope. Little piece right there. Hey, we got some black. Here's this little one cut open. Nice. Nice little bit of seam. I think we might have a nice piece right here. Oh, it's got water lines in it. So it's multiple veins kind of all going through the rock. Got a piece right there that you can see some faint water lines. And another piece right there, which is just a vein on the top of it. Yep, definitely much more abundant on this side. Here's this one cut open. It's probably just some veins going through it. Yeah, just some small veins. Still looks really nice though. I think we might have a large piece of seam here. Let's pull this thing out. Whoa. Yeah. That's a piece of seam. Not sure how good it is. I won't know until I cut it, but it looks good enough to me to want to cut into. So we will take that back and cut into that. Here's this piece of the vein cut open. So there you go, that piece fell off. It had a fracture in it. Take a look at that. What an interesting seam. And here's the other side of the seam. Yeah, pretty neat stuff. Is that another piece of seam? I think I can see from that side, yeah. Oh, whoa! Either that's huge or that's where it's connected. And if that's where it's connected, then that's where the seam is. All right, let me grab my hand pick to pry it out. I might need a bigger tool than the little hand pick. Look at that. Ugh. It's moving though. moving that whole area. Get it loose. Wow. Oh. Wow, is that a giant piece of seam? I mean, this edge looks like it. There's a little chip that fell out that had a definite green color to it. Yeah, see, look at that. Look at the green right there. Okay. Well, now that I'm looking at it more closely, I think maybe we have a seam here and then little bits going through. Well, let me spray it off. It might be just a whole thick seam. Well, I think it is. I think it is mostly a thick seam. From this side, it definitely looks like it. The quality of the seam, I don't know. Well, actually, look at right there. There's some like red plumes, red orange plumes or something. Wow, and then that greenish color there. All right, see what I'm seeing right there? Those little orangish plumes. Let me spray it again. See that right along the edge? And of course that greenish color right there, that's cool. Green, blue, something. Well, that's a big piece. Here's that giant vein, so I cut this end off, which is the smaller end. Washed it off so you can kind of see that green blue that goes through it. And that's what it looks like cut. Very interesting. I think the best part is right where it's on the edge. That, to me, that's the coolest part. But overall, it's pretty nice stuff. And just to show you, there's the other side, but look how much there is still. And there's even some of that blue-green that goes maybe deeper into it. I don't know, it's huge though, and it's too big for my saw, so the rest of this is gonna have to get cut at another time. There's an interesting little piece with water lines in it. So I met back up with Gary. He's got a few nice things. He got a nice, beautiful nodule about that big, but this is beautiful right here. Look at the rim on that. Look at that, how it goes from that red to that kind of military green and then to the white and then the quartz. That is really cool. That's a beautiful piece. And here's that nodule. Beautiful nodule. That's one you almost feel it would be a shame to cut because it looks so cool from the outside. He has another piece of it. Look at that. Yeah, the rind on that is so nice.
Got some black.
That's beautiful. So you got a little bit of black, that's good. I found a piece of black too, but it was pretty small. And when the black has some water lines in it, I like that. Well, we're back to where I found the seam. I still have the big one propped up over there. And Gary found a piece. It's a smaller piece, but it is definitely a piece of the seam. It looks like the same material. Nice. So Gary just found another big piece of the seam. I found this smaller piece, and then look at this one. It is very greenish. Look at that. Let me spray it off again because it looks really good. See, look at that. Nice green color in it. So we should be getting that green in the larger vein. So I'm excited to cut it. By now you guys will have seen it cut. Here's this piece of seam cut open. All right. It is seam. It's not great seam, but it is some seam. Here's this tiny seam that I think is part of that bigger seam. And yeah, kind of that blue-green. Interesting. Just found this. It's really nice. It's almost kind of borderline agate and jasper, but it's water lined. Look, it's got water lines going through it.
I think we'll call it jagged.
Maybe we'll call it jagged. Those water lines though, cut across that. Oh, that's probably gonna be so pretty. It is thin though. I want to be careful. I don't want it to break, but I'm excited for that piece. Here's this one cut open. I've been looking forward to this. Remember that? Okay, the lines continue through. Huh, it's darker than I thought it would be. It's still really cool. I do wish it was like partially translucent. That would be really cool. So they're finding some good nodules down in that area. Right over there's where we were at the vein. And I'm starting to find some good nodules too. I found a few small ones, and then I found this larger one. So, looking good. Here's this one cut open. There's the water lines. Ooh, that one's really nice. Banding with water lines and crystalline quartz. And a cool circle right there. So I got two things. Got this little white thing here I wanted to take a look at. Interesting. Definitely worth cutting, I think. But the big one is that. That looks interesting. Oh, okay. It looks kind of cool from the outside, but so far as inside, it's just, you know, kind of an average. Looks like we might have something here. I think it might be just some veins in the volcanic. Yeah, cool veins, but there's just a few small ones, I think. Okay, I've got a nice exposure here. They're still down in the agate area, or the seam area, and I saw a bigger piece here. You can tell it's got some water lines, not really good ones, but what's exciting me is I see a nodule right here. Look at that. That's a sweet nodule. Who knows what'll be inside? Oh, maybe some dendrites. Huh. We'll have to cut that one. Oh, there's another piece right there. Yep, water lines. All right. Cool. Any more things? Something really dark right here. That's just the volcanics. A little piece there. Here's this one cut open. Based on that, I'm pretty sure there's some water lines in it. Yes, there are. Ooh. Oh, that's actually really nice. I think you could call that a fortification agate. Here's this one cut open. You can see banding in it. Here we go. Ooh, that's a nice banding. Ooh, even a bit of a bluish color in this one. This is nice. This is a nice piece. Here is this one cut open. Oh, nice. Good water lines. Classic Chalice volcanic water lines. Got a few more things here. I think this might be something. I don't know, it might just be more the volcanic rock. But there was this nice seam right here, look at that. Attached to that volcanic rock. And then up here, I saw another, what looked like maybe another nodule. Yeah. Looks quirky. That's cool. Here's this one cut open. Yeah, I thought it was just on the top. Interesting. It's a bit too fractured, but it looks pretty cool. So I wanted to show you, I found a bunch of pieces, they were up there, that had where the crystal faces used to be of some mineral. I don't know what the mineral was, what was originally there, but it left these really cool edges in the chalcedony. Yeah. Look at all those. On our way back up to the vehicle, he found a nice little piece of the black agate again. On the way down from that hill, just as I was getting to the bottom, I found that piece of really nice seam agate. Look at that. Lots of things in there. Plume, banding. Here's this one cut open. Just along the edge. There's plenty more to cut into. And that is how it looks. Pretty nice. Made it back to the vehicle. Got everything put away. So ended up with a nice amount right here. Almost half a bucket. And everybody got a nice piece of the vein. Everybody did really well here. So there's not a lot in this area right here. And as I went up there, not much at all. But the vast majority of what we found was right along this part of that hill, right there. So who knows what else might be in that area. We never touched any of that or up that way. Here's this one cut open. All right, yep, that's about what I thought. It's quite nice. Look at that. Sweet. Here's this one cut open. Ooh, well, that's cool. very white water lines, and then a clear area. And we've even got some tubes right up in there. Here's this vein cut open. Ooh, that's a nice one. Oh yeah, we've got some plumes coming off the edge, and we've got some crystals growing toward the middle. Here's this thing cut open. Oh, cool. That is a cool vein. I like that orange, that yellow orange. Here's this one cut open. Ooh. Okay, I think the center of that is actually calcite. So we're getting a mix here. Here is this one cut open. Oh, nice. There's an agate. Look at those bands. That is a banded agate right there. Here's this one cut open. Ooh, that is nice. Oh yeah, look at that. Water lines, crystal, some banding, some plumes along the edge. It's got a little bit of everything. Here is this one cut open. Nice. Some banding, and look at the plumes along the edge. Those are nice. Here's this one cut open. Oh, just a mix of stuff. All right. Here's this one cut open. Looks like it's gonna have some plumes. And it does. Oh, look at that. That is a nice one. Here is this one cut open. Oh, man. Wow, there's a lot going on in there. I don't know what to look at. The other half of this shattered, but that's what it looked like there. So here's one half of that of a seam I found right at the end of the day. Right at the end of the first area. And I didn't think much of it, and then I cut into it, and look at how it turned out. Wow. And you can't see, but that pocket goes deep, most of the way through the rock. Look at that. That is beautiful. And let me show you the other side. Here's the other side of that massive one. And the pocket ends right there, you can see. It is a beautiful piece. What a nice piece of vein to find. Made it to spot 2. So that main spot, that was the first spot. I didn't think we'd spend that much time, but right at the end it started getting good, so I spent more time. This is the second spot I wanted to get to. So the main road that we were coming up kind of loops around and goes that way. There's this offshoot that comes up here. There's a spring down there. They water cattle. And it's BLM up until some point where it turns into Forest Service. Definitely where those trees are, it probably does. So that's what we're dealing with out here. So here's the GPS of where we ended up. We're parked right now. So I did look in the road as we were coming up, and I saw some pieces of colorless seams. So we're still in the material. The question is, which direction do we go? Make a choice. Maybe we'll all go in a different direction and show each other later what we found. We don't have a lot of time though, only about an hour or 15, hour and a half before I've got to go, because I've got some stuff going on tonight. We got a play to go to, and I got to make sure I'm ready for that. So can't stay here too long. Might have to come back again. He's already found a piece. Is it just kind of the colorless seam? Oh, it's a nodule. That's a cool nodule. Good start. So the car's over there. I walked across, looked in the wash, didn't see much of anything, came on top. Down near the bottom there, I saw some white, so I'm gonna head in that direction probably. But I told Logan so that he could go check it out. Anyway, I've got my first find right here, if I can find it again. Let me back up. Where did I see it? So busy getting the camera on, I lost sight of where it was. There it is. It's just a little further. Yeah, look at that. That looks pretty good. Yeah, looks like we got some plume in that. All right. Decent start for myself. Here's this one cut open. Looks good right there. And it continues looking good as you go further in. That has a lot going on in it. All right, that piece I found was on the other side of that. I kept coming, didn't see hardly anything except for teeny little pieces like that. And then I think I've got some green jasper, and I think I see a much bigger piece right here. So, yep, we've got some green jasper, and that's nice looking stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's see how much more of this we can find, of this good green jasper. I think I see a piece there. Yep, a little piece. Just a small one. I think we've got a bigger one under there. Okay. Now that doesn't look as good as the other stuff. I might still keep it though and cut into it just to check. Ooh, I think I see a bigger one right there. Yeah. Underneath that. Hiding. Actually, that doesn't look like good quality, does it? Continuing up the hill, I think I found another piece that might be nice. Ooh, hard to tell. I think it's worth cutting into, though. It's almost like that's a bunch of little tubes, huh? Interesting. Well, we'll take the ones that I think look better, cut those, see how they turn out, and like, there's the possibility of coming back. Okay, that one looks a little better. Okay, I think I'm close to where it's coming out. I picked up a few pieces that looked nicer. That one looks maybe interesting. Huh. But that one looks like it's a better quality one, so let's grab that one. And get on this side. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. Don't know how good it'll be. Definitely very fractured. But the better looking pieces anyway, I think I should take back. Cut them. See if it's good. Here's this piece cut open. All right. So some of it has become jasper. Other parts are still mostly volcanic. Here's this one cut open. All right. That's pretty neat looking stuff. So pretty much the rest of it, as I was cutting, just shattered into pieces that all looked about like that. So, yeah. So it's a jasper opal mix for the most part, and some of it is really nice. There's certain parts of it where you get a little bit of agate going on, and they can look really nice. Like that's a little better right there. Well, this was pretty cool. See, this is mostly opal right there. That one's pretty cool, like that. But there's another one that had some of this like banding going on. Where did it get to? I swear it was one of the pieces right here. Oh, there it is. See, right there. So, if we can kind of focus on the areas where there's less opal and more of the jasper agate, and we might get some really good looking pieces. That's a pretty looking piece. It's a lighter green. Yeah, it's just like a little chip, and it's opal, so I don't know. Opal's not great to work with. So, yeah, trying to mostly focus on finding where it meets up with the agate. Here's this massive piece cut open. As it turns out, this surrounding stuff on top is just some of the green volcanic, and it was shattered. And a lot of fractures in it mean lots of bits fell off, but the main piece that stayed intact looks like this. Pretty cool. This little spot right there. So I've come down and around and was following this little gully here. I figure I had enough of that material. And I see two things, something red and something green. So we've got something red on that rock, and then we've got something green right there. So let's get down here and grab the green. Okay. Seems to be more of that material, and it's very light. And then here, just on the edge, a little bit of red. It looks to be more jasper or opal. Might be a reddish opal. Cool. Here is this one cut open. Oh, that's cool. Look at that diamond in it. It's like a brownish color. Here's this one cut open. So, quick story with this. I'm trying to cut it on my big saw, and it's at that size where it just doesn't do a good job, and it grabbed it a lot, and so it pulled it and shattered it a bit, which is unfortunate, but the pieces that came out of it still were really cool. And it just had a fracture going through it anyway, so I guess it was probably going to happen anyway. Here's this one cut open. All right, not too bad. Here's this little piece of vein cut open. You can see a little bit of banding in there. And the banding continues through. It's just too bad it's a really thin seam. Here is this one cut open. Oh, cool. Water lines and quite a few other things going on there. So on our way out, we actually stopped as we were getting toward the entrance close down by the road, where we saw a few black pieces, and here's this one cut open. Mostly volcanic rock. Here's this tiny piece. All right, yep, about what I thought. I was really looking forward to this piece. It looked so good from the outside, and it looks good on the inside. Look at that crystal pocket. That's a pretty nice one. Here's this one cut open. Looks like it should have plumes in it. And it does. Look at those nice plumes. Here's this one cut open. It had a pocket, but I decided to cut into it anyway, and I'm glad I did. Look at that. That is pretty sweet looking. And I'm back at the vehicle. So all I did was down in the wash area over there, I found a few more pieces of some waterline seam. They weren't very big, and then a few more pieces of the jasper, and that's about it. Checked in with Gary and Logan and didn't find a whole lot either. So basically all we got today was, so that spot right there on the hill is where I found the green jasper, and then on the other side of it, a little further down, is where I found that opal jasper mix material. And that's probably the best stuff in this spot. So if you come out to this spot, this is something you probably would want to do a little bit more hiking to explore further where there might be some better stuff, because close by there's not a lot. But that first area was great. We found some awesome stuff. Overall, it was a good rockhounding day, pretty much because of that first place near the end of it. Until next time, remember, there is treasure everywhere.